It all begins with a group of mercenaries who infiltrate the Vatican after disabling the security cameras and eliminating the guards, all in pursuit of the priceless treasures they plan to steal. The problem? Suddenly, a white anthropomorphic rabbit appears, the very same one who had hired those mercenaries to disable the defenses. But it was all a setup. He deceived them, only to show up himself, steal a sword from within the Vatican, and then slaughter every single mercenary. He also took down the reinforcements that arrived afterward and blew up the entire Vatican. Before disappearing, he remarked on the irony of a weapon from the underworld being safeguarded in a holy place. This led the President and Vice President of the United States to ask a pressing question: who was that white rabbit? And beyond that, what was that sword? And most importantly, what is its purpose? News of the event spread like wildfire. People speculated wildly. Some claimed it was a terrorist attack by Russia, others blamed Germany. But none of it added up. An anonymous user online publicly claimed that the culprit was a demonic terrorist. Naturally, most people laughed it off. But out of all the so-called crazies, he was the most reasonable. Because the president and vice president soon met with Dr. Fisher, the leading theoretical physicist of an organization called Darkham, which specializes in the study of demons. According to Fisher, demons are just as real as humans. They are not mere mythological constructs. He explained that mythology exists to help mortals make sense of what they can't fully comprehend, and that's why nearly every mythology tells the same stories about demons. According to his research, demons share similar DNA with Homo sapiens, except they're more evolved. Long ago, humans and demons coexisted in the same world. But one day, the demons sought to conquer Earth. Only one demon stood against them, Sparta. He sided with humanity, but he couldn't stop the invasion alone. So, using his sword, he created a barrier between the two species, sealing the demons away in a parallel dimension known in mythologies as the underworld. However, breaches still occur. Lesser demons sometimes slip through and blend into human society, some even live among humans undetected. Still, no breach has ever been wide enough for the most dangerous demons to pass through. The real issue now is that Sparta's sword, the one used to seal off the underworld, was hidden in the Vatican. And it has just been stolen by the White Rabbit. If that sword had the power to separate both species, it also holds the power to break the seal, opening the way for demons to invade the human world once more. With Darkham's help, an investigation began immediately. Through the body camera of one of the mercenaries killed by the rabbit, they discovered a key clue. Just before dying, the mercenary had mentioned something. If you want to catch the rabbit, you have to find the hunter. Based on this lead, the vice president ordered the arrest of every known demon hunter. They were all captured and interrogated, but the information they provided was limited. The only valuable lead came from one of them, who claimed to have heard from someone else about a mutant rabbit making deals in the underworld. He was reportedly working with a man named Enzo, a broker who deals with mercenaries and demon hunters. Enzo is a slick, chubby guy, always looking to profit from any situation. According to him, the rabbit did come to him, asked for mercenaries to raid the Vatican, and yes, he knew he was dealing with a demon. But Enzo didn't ask questions. The rabbit paid him well, and that's all that mattered. Because with Enzo, if there's something to gain, he'll take it. The thing is, Enzo mentioned that in all his years working with demon hunters, he believes that the rabbit isn't just any demon, it's a higher-level demon. But not one that crossed over into this world. No, this one possessed something from the other side. As explained before, high-level demons can't pass through dimensions. But through possession, they can find a loophole. Thanks to Enzo, they also learned more about Sparta's sword. Apparently, the sword does have the power to shatter the barrier between the human world and the demon realm, but only if it's combined with the stone that grants it its full power, a magical amulet that Sparta once removed from the blade and split in two, making it harder to track down. To restore the sword's power, both halves must be reunited. Well, The rabbit already has one half, and he's after the other, which, according to him, belongs to a demon hunter named Dante. An albino guy who, while the rest of the world panicked about a potential demonic invasion, was busy playing Just Dance at home. And the best part? He lost. This guy's a legend. He fights with 2 pistols, a massive sword with a skull on it, moves like lightning, has insane strength, and every girl who sees him loses her mind. Honestly, same. He's hot on every level, and he knows it. He's arrogant to the core. He once saved a woman and her baby from being slaughtered by demons in an alley. Right after, he casually mentioned that he usually says something badass in moments like that, but this time, nothing came to mind. Turns out, that baby wasn't actually a baby, it was a demon. The woman had no idea. When Dante was about to finish her off, she slapped him and ran away. He never saw her again. Dante's life hasn't exactly been easy. He never knew his father. He grew up without any father figure at all. His mother and his twin brother were killed by a demon. Before she died, his mother gave him an amulet, telling him it was a sacred part of their family's history and that he must protect it with his life. She gave the other half to his brother. That amulet? It's the second half of the stone, the very one Dante now wears around his neck. His mother used to tell him stories about his father, a great warrior who fought for his freedom. But one night, demons attacked. They killed his mother and brother and took the stone that belonged to his twin. Over time, Dante became a demon hunter, mostly because every other job he tried bored him to death. Enzo, his agent, was the one who offered him the gig of dealing with rogue demons. But after failing to kill the demon baby, Dante felt down. So, naturally, he went to a cafe to cheer himself up with some ice cream. That's when a truck slammed into the building. Dante, being ridiculously fast, managed to save everyone. But then, someone appeared. His dead brother, Virgil. Only, it wasn't actually his brother. It was the demon baby from the night before, who had shapeshifted into the adult version of Virgil to get close, lower Dante's guard, and steal his amulet. The weird part? The demon somehow knew exactly what Virgil would have looked like as an adult, even though he supposedly died as a child. Dante confronted him. The shapeshifter tried to snatch the stone, banking on the surprise. But Dante was too strong. He slapped the demon so hard that it broke his own pistols. The demon had no choice but to flee. Before escaping, he left Dante with a cryptic message. "I'm the one who changes faces, but you're the one who doesn't even know who you really are." The words stuck with him. It shook him not just because he wasn't expecting to see his brother, but because Dante has one personal rule when it comes to jobs. Never take on a mission that hits too close to home. Meanwhile, over at Darkham, they hired a whole squad of mercenaries to capture Dante. We're talking dozens of heavily armed men, all to take down just one guy. Naturally, the mercs laughed about it. What's this guy gonna do? Give us a makeover. That is, until a massive, burly merc spoke up. He had worked with Dante before and warned them, "You won't be laughing for long." According to him, Dante's speed, strength, and reflexes weren't remotely human. He wasn't about to risk his life again, not after seeing what the guy could really do. But then someone mentioned the bounty, $500,000. And just like that, his morals took the day off. We also got introduced to Darkham's elite task force, a specialized team of demon hunters. There's King, the cocky blonde guy ninja's totally into. Patriot, the helmet-wearing tank. Sentry, the deadly redhead, and Ninja, the short-haired powerhouse with a mask. All of them are led by Mari Arkham, Darkham's top hunter. She has heterochromia, a no-nonsense attitude, and a nose sharp enough to sniff out a demon in disguise. Literally. She exposed one among the mercenaries just by scent, then shot him in the head with an anti-demon bullet, causing his entire body to explode. These bullets are infused with a special liquid that reacts violently with demon blood. Mari also wears jet-boosted boots that allow her to fly and magnetic bracelets that summon her pistols on command. Oh, and at one point, she ripped off Dante's shirt just to inspect his abs. For research purposes. Obviously. Mari had a rough childhood too. She was always fascinated by demons because her father studied their potential existence. One night, after leaving the movies, they took a different route than the Wayne family. Instead of the alley, they went into the subway. And that's where a demon attacked. Its mouth opened in 3 directions, and it almost devoured them, but almost doesn't count. Because right at that moment, a train came speeding through and sent the demon straight to the cemetery. Ever since that night, her father became obsessed with demons. He claimed that, in order to protect the ones he loved, he needed power. And that power was the only thing that truly mattered. That mindset passed on to Mari. She became fixated on the idea of hunting demons, and as she grew up, she turned into one of the most skilled demon hunters alive. Besides them, there's Anders, a blonde soldier who was part of a strike team sent to intercept the rabbit. He was the only one who survived. He came out of it with a scar, a few missing brain cells, and a story no one believed. A bit slow, but a good guy at heart. The vice president decided to bring him into the Darkham team, even though all Anders really wants is to go home and be with his daughters. The plan was simple. Send Enzo to distract Dante while mercenaries swarmed in from all directions. And if they failed, Mari would step in and finish the job. But Dante knew what was going on the moment Enzo showed up. He didn't even get mad. He knows Enzo too well for that. Instead, he grabbed a new gun, picked up his sword, and got ready for battle. The fight kicked off to the sound of Guerrilla Radio by Rage Against the Machine. Because, as Dante says, I work better with music. The mercs came in. They gagged Enzo, thinking he was Dante. Dante knocked them out using pool balls like grenades, flipping tables, taking out waves of attackers, and when more showed up at the door, he launched a steel beam straight through the wall, blowing it apart. He sliced through them with his sword while laughing in their faces. But one merc actually managed to land a hit. Shot him right in the chest. It didn't do much. Dante heals fast, ridiculously fast. Then the big guy from his past showed up. Dante took him out with a single punch. The mercs had nothing left. So Mari arrived to finish the mission herself. With barely any effort. She managed to snatch the amulet from around Dante's neck. And that's when it got personal. His mother had told him to protect it with his life, so when Mari took it, Dante didn't hesitate. He chased after her. No more jokes. No more music. Just a man on a mission. He ran across the rooftop until a demon-slaying bullet struck him. It hurt, sure, but not enough to kill him. Because Dante isn't a demon. And he's not human either. He's a hybrid, the offspring of a powerful demon and a completely insane human woman, his mom, obviously. Still, Dante insists he's not a demon, not half demon, not quarter demon, not anything. What is he then? Even he doesn't really know. Mari captured him and brought him to Darkham, where they injected him with an explosive device in his neck. It'll detonate if he strays more than 1.5 miles. So yeah, no pressure. While he was being transported in armored vehicles to meet the president, Dr. Fisher was busy analyzing the amulet. But 2 things happened on the way. First, Enzo randomly mentions Raccoon City. Yes, that Raccoon City, the one from Resident Evil. Which makes me wonder, do Devil May Cry and Resident Evil share the same universe? Or maybe it's just a Capcom Easter egg. Like when we saw Patriot had a Mega Man figure on his dashboard. Could be nothing. Could be everything. We'll leave the conspiracy theories to Reddit. Second, the vice president asks to speak with Dante, trying to convince him to use his powers to fight the demons. He says Dante's soul is stained by demonic blood, but that doesn't mean he can't fight for good. Dante, of course, keeps denying everything. I'm not a demon. I'm not half demon. I'm just a superhero, okay? But then, an officer stops traffic up ahead. That's when all hell breaks loose. The rabbit makes a building explode, collapsing it onto the highway. He fires a bazooka, and 5 demons appear: Echidna, a seductive snake-bodied woman with plant-based powers; Agni and Rudra, twin demon brothers, one red, one blue, both violent; Cavalier Angelo, the most demon-looking demon of the bunch, armored and terrifying; and finally, Plasma, the shape-shifting demon baby, who had been impersonating the traffic officer the whole time. All the demons attacked the Darkham team at once. While everyone was putting their lives on the line, fighting for survival, Anders slipped away with Dr. Fisher. He looked him in the eye and said, "Give me the stone. I'll keep it safe." But surprise, he's a traitor. The only survivor of the rabbit's previous massacre. Now working undercover. Why? Because the White Rabbit is holding his daughters hostage. That's right, Anders is being blackmailed. Do as you're told, or never see your kids again. So, Anders stole the stone from Fisher and handed it over to the rabbit, who then combined it with the other half. Now he had both the full amulet and Sparta's sword. But here's the catch: he couldn't break the barrier between worlds. Because to do so, you need to say the magic words. And the rabbit, he didn't know them. So, basically, he had nothing. Furious, he killed Fisher. Then stabbed Anders, just enough to make it look like he fought back, so no one would suspect a thing. After the battle ended, Mari approached him and said, "You fought the White Rabbit and survived?" Impressed. Suspicious. But still in the dark. So Anders continues playing the part. Still a mole. Meanwhile, the demons escaped, taking Enzo with them. And Dante? He broke free, grabbed a motorcycle and took off in pursuit. A full-on highway chase began. Cars flying, explosions everywhere. The colorful demon brothers hurled their swords at Dante, which he caught midair and threw straight at the plant demon. Then ran her over with the bike for good measure. And through it all, the rabbit was getting weirdly excited. He was thrilled, obsessed. Because everything so far had been part of his plan. He wanted Dante to chase him. He wanted to push him. To enrage him. To force him into awakening the dormant power inside him, a power that came dangerously close to awakening during the chase. Just as Dante was about to reach the rabbit. Boom. He crossed the range of the nano-explosive in his neck. His head exploded. Dante died. Well, not really. He got better. Turns out, blowing his head off doesn't do much. Dante regenerates anyway oh yeah. Nice try. In the end, the rabbit took Dante with him aboard the president's private jet. Oh right, I forgot to mention, the vice president had also been kidnapped by demons disguised as government agents. They took him, along with Dante, Enzo, and a few other people who honestly don't matter much. Once aboard, they were all held hostage by the color-coded demons. That's when the White Rabbit told a wild story, revealing that Dante is the son of Sparta, the demon who turned his back on his own kind to fight alongside humans. And suddenly, everything made sense. His mom's a human, his dad was a rebel demon who betrayed his race for love. What a family tree. That explains all of Dante's insane powers. The rabbit told him, if he doesn't stop the demon brothers, they'll blow up the plane and kill everyone on board. The only way to stop them is to awaken his devil trigger, his demonic side. To embrace his true power and face them head-on. But Dante, still stubborn, kept insisting, I'm not a demon. I'm not half demon. And my mom's not the type to sleep with some random monster. But in the heat of the moment, faced with total destruction, he finally gave in. He awakened his devil trigger, transformed, and said, all right. I don't know what kind of life my mom had before me. Maybe I am the son of a demon. Now fully powered up, Dante took down the red demon. But the blue one, enraged by the death of his brother, triggered the detonation, blowing up the entire plane. Everyone went flying. Meanwhile, while all of that was happening, Mari and the Darkham team were tracking the signal from the stone. Along the way, two major things happened. First, Plasma, the shape-shifting demon baby, disguised himself as one of the soldiers to infiltrate the group. Second, when they reached the rabbit's base, an abandoned building inhabited by numerous demons, they realized it was all a trap. They were ambushed almost immediately, and all of Mari's teammates were killed. She was the only survivor, barely managing to escape. However, she was affected by a hallucinogenic gas that caused her to see the ghosts of her fallen comrades, blaming her for their deaths, along with her father and everyone else she had ever known. She took refuge with the help of a family who allowed her to hide in their home, a kindness that saved her from being found by Cavalier. But she wasn't expecting that family to turn out to be demons. They came from Makai, or as humans call it, hell, where the strongest and most evolved demons had started releasing a toxic gas to wipe out the weaker ones, making the place uninhabitable for them. One day, the rabbit appeared through a portal, using some kind of device, offering them a new home in the human world. He brought many families into the human realm, but it was all a lie. He only brought them there to keep them captive and experiment on them. They can't escape. They can't ask for help. Humans fear them, and if they're discovered, they'll be attacked on sight. So they can't live in peace. After hearing their story, Mari, despite knowing they were demons, decided to let them live. She promised to fight for the well-being of those families, no matter what they are. Because to her, they still deserve a chance. Mari left the apartment and kept running from the demons. Cavalier stopped chasing her, and in his place, Echidna began the hunt. While fleeing, Mari stumbled into a room filled with the demons the rabbit had been experimenting on. Twisted, broken creatures who begged her to kill them, desperate to end their suffering. There, she came face to face with Plasma, who was disguised as a human, but Mari saw through him immediately. They fought, but she quickly realized something. Echidna was getting close. And Plasma hadn't noticed. She tricked the little smurf. She told him, "Let's make a deal. If your mission is to infiltrate Darkham, you can take my form. I'm a lieutenant. I've got more clearance than that soldier you're copying." Plasma, eager and unaware, accepted the offer. The moment he took her form, Mari hid, and right on cue, Echidna appeared, shooting a volley of poison spikes at Plasma and killing him instantly. Then Mari emerged from the shadows and shot Echidna, finishing her off too. Afterward, she made her way to the control room, where she saw through the security cameras that the base doors were opening. Her team was arriving, but it was a trap. She warned them just in time. The whole place exploded, but they survived. Mari then gave a clear order: do not kill. Save the demons. Because the ones in the building weren't hostile, they were refugees from Makai. The soldiers hesitated, but a lieutenant's orders are absolute. They followed her lead and began evacuating all the demons, escorting them to Darkham HQ for safety. Meanwhile, back in the sky, Dante was falling from the exploding plane, jumping across debris midair, reaching every falling person one by one, handing them parachutes to save their lives. But eventually he ran out. With no parachutes left, panic started to set in, because for the first time, he realized he couldn't save everyone. Just when all hope seemed lost, Dante unleashed his true power. His body transformed, horns, claws, glowing eyes, and massive demonic wings erupted from his back. With a burst of speed and fury, he swooped through the sky, catching every falling person and flying them to safety atop a nearby rooftop. One by one, he saved them all. Then, without hesitation, he dove back into the fight, facing off against the blue demon in a clash of pure chaos. Fists collided like thunder, kicks shattered concrete, each blow shaking the air around them. The battle raged across the skyline until Dante spotted a nearby explosion. He dragged the demon toward it, and together they crashed into the side of a crumbling building. Just then, Mari arrived, guns blazing, shooting the demon and giving Dante the edge he needed. She looked at him, half laughing, half stunned. "Didn't you die?" she asked. Dante smirked, brushing the dust from his jacket. "Turns out I'm Sparta's kid." I can turn into a demon. That's why I survived. Mari nodded. Sounds convincing. I buy it. But there was no time to celebrate. Suddenly, a screen lit up. The White Rabbit, smug as ever, appeared in a live transmission. You've got 30 minutes, Dante, he said. Come find me, or I'll unleash my army of demons on the city. And then boom. The entire building exploded. Why? Because Plasma, the demon who had survived, had reached the control room. There, he watched in horror as the vice president secretly changed Mari's command. Instead of saving the refugee demons, he ordered the soldiers to kill them all. And they obeyed. Powerless and enraged, Plasma snapped. He activated every explosive in the facility. And in a single moment of silent rage, the whole structure went up in flames. After what happened in the subway, Mari's father became obsessed with demons. He shut himself in his study, isolating himself even from his own family, consumed by his research. Mari would watch him through the crack in the door, noticing strange things like the fact that he had a demon's arm. Day by day, he seemed less like her father and more like something else. Her mother cried constantly, mourning the man who was no longer truly there, while Mari stopped paying attention altogether, spending her days playing with a boy from the neighborhood. Until one fateful night, she stumbled upon her parents arguing, her father shouting, her mother pleading, until he shoved her to the ground, injected something into his neck, and transformed into a demon. And then, in front of Mari's eyes, he devoured his own wife. Frozen in terror, the little girl tried to fight back with a scalpel, but he knocked her aside. In the chaos, she accidentally knocked over some equipment, starting a fire that engulfed the room and killed her father. From that moment on, Mari's hatred for demons was set in stone. She grew up with one purpose: to destroy them. That's why she joined the military. That's why she ended up at Darkham. To face the very monsters that tore her life apart. On the other hand, there was a boy whose name we were never told. All we know is that he was adopted by a family who abused him. The boy loved to build things, to create, but the other children in that house would break everything he made and beat him up. His adoptive parents were just as cruel, and no one believed him when he tried to tell the truth. So he kept his head down and buried himself in the only thing that gave him comfort, the book he had brought with him into that house, Alice in Wonderland, a story about a white rabbit who leads a girl into another world. One night, in a dark alley near his home, he found a tear in reality, an open portal to the demon world. Thinking it was just like in his book, he stepped through. The animation changed, the tone shifted, and he suddenly found himself face to face with a massive demon chasing him through the shadows. He ran for his life until, at the last second, a hooded figure appeared and saved him. That figure turned out to be another boy, a young demon, who took him to a small village hidden deep in the demon world. There, he was adopted by a family of demons who treated him far better than any human ever had. For the first time, he was happy. He forgot about his past and spent his days playing with the demon children, laughing, running, watching from afar the grand castle where the higher demons lived in luxury. One day, he discovered a glowing stone. Fascinated, he began experimenting with it. Sadly, one of his demon sisters died from the toxic gas that filled parts of their world, and that's when he had an idea. He locked himself away and began working tirelessly, using the power of the stone to create a device capable of locating and opening portals to the human world, giving demons a chance to escape, to survive, to live peaceful lives. And it worked. He started leading groups of demons through the portals, one by one, from their dying realm to the human world. They lived quietly in an abandoned building, hidden from society, finally safe. Or so they thought. One fateful night, members of Darkham, an organization dedicated to researching, tracking, and exterminating demons, located an area where a portal had just opened. From that portal stepped a young man, followed by a group of demons. Mari confronted him immediately, asking why a human would bring demons into their world. The boy tried to explain that they weren't hostile, that they were just trying to live in peace, that they were running from something and wanted safety. But the conversation didn't last long because something was coming. A massive demon emerged from the portal, roaring as it tried to cross over. Chaos broke loose. Darkham opened fire on all the demons, and Mari hurled grenades directly into the giant demon's mouth, causing an explosion that destroyed everything, closing the portal and killing every last demon the boy had tried to save. He was the only one who survived, and that moment shattered him. From that day forward, he descended into madness, obsessed with finding out who had done this. He began investigating Darkham, tracing their connections, digging into the vice president's ties to the organization, uncovering every dirty secret. While the world moved on, he stitched together a white rabbit costume and sewed it directly onto his body. He became the White Rabbit. Not a demon, not a monster, just a human filled with hatred. To stay alive, he implanted a device into his chest that delivered a constant blood transfusion. Fueled by rage, by grief, by vengeance, he transformed himself into a symbol, one that now hunts Darkham from the shadows. That's the true story behind this so-called demon rabbit. He's not a demon. He's not even a rabbit. He's a broken human in a sewn-on costume, hell-bent on revenge. Back to our protagonists, Dante and Mari were the only ones who survived the explosion. Knowing the White Rabbit needed Dante's blood to activate the stone and, through it, the sword, Mari locked Dante inside a truck, grabbed a briefcase, stole a convertible, caused a traffic pileup, launched the car off a ramp, and landed on the rooftop where the rabbit and his demons were waiting. The rabbit had just returned through a portal from Mackay after speaking with another demon who told him something crucial. Dante's blood alone wasn't enough to awaken the stone. It also required the blood of his brother. Coincidentally, the demon had it, and he handed it over to the rabbit. Back in the human world, Mari tried to strike a deal. She offered the stone in exchange for Dante's life, but the rabbit saw through the bluff. The demon struck, paralyzing Mari, and just then, Dante arrived to settle the score. At first, the rabbit tried to reason with him, showing him images of the demon world, its toxic air, its dying lands, its unlivable conditions, begging Dante to join his cause. But Dante wasn't buying it. "I fight for humans," he said, "just like my father did." And so the battle began. Dante tore through the demons, slicing and smashing them with brutal precision. Cavalier attacked him, but Dante blocked with a demon that Cavalier sliced in half. Dante then shoved his arms inside the demon's torso and used it like a pair of grotesque boxing gloves to keep fighting. The chaos escalated. Dante fought across dimensions, dragging enemies through Mackay and back, even collapsing a mountain on top of them. He finally defeated Cavalier by smashing his head through the portal, causing the device to malfunction and slice the demon's head in half, sealing the breach. And he did it all without shedding a drop of blood, because the moment Dante bleeds, the rabbit gets what he needs to activate the stone. So this was a battle without mistakes. And in the aftermath, Dante finally learned the truth. The White Rabbit is human. The rabbit confessed to Mari that he was the same human she encountered in the past, and that everything he was doing, every death, every act of madness, was for her. Because she created him. He said the demon world was dying, and what he was trying to build was salvation for them, a paradise. Yes, he admitted, many humans would die in the process. He wasn't going to lie about it. But while they were standing there talking, countless innocent demons were already dying. And if more people had to die for future civilizations of humans and demons to coexist in peace, so be it. But before he could say more, Dante landed a few solid punches that sent the rabbit flying off the rooftop and into the water, recovering his necklace in the process. Yet just before sinking beneath the surface, the rabbit warned him he could have prevented what was coming. It all seemed over. Until it wasn't. The rabbit survived. And not only that, he fused with another demon, devouring it and mutating into a giant monstrosity to continue the fight. No bullet could hurt him. At least not his body. His only weakness was the device in his chest, the very same one transfusing blood into his veins, keeping him alive. Break it, and he bleeds out in seconds. But the device was well protected. As long as it stayed intact, he was unstoppable. Dante fought hard, but the mutant rabbit's power was overwhelming. Blow after blow, he was being beaten. And just when it seemed like all hope was lost, Enzo, poor, stubborn Enzo, grabbed a weapon, stepped between Dante and the monster, and tried to stab the device in the rabbit's chest himself. But he failed. The demon impaled him with Sparta's sword, killing Enzo right in front of Dante. What really made Dante furious was when Mari boarded a helicopter. He joined her, but the demon pursued them both until they crashed onto a bridge, where Dante lost the stone, one the demon quickly seized. The demon then placed the sword, activating its power with Virgil's blood, tricking Dante by telling him his brother was still alive to lower his guard. Seizing the moment, the demon pierced Dante's chest with the sword, and with the blood of both brothers now on the blade, it finally unleashed its power, shattering the barrier between the two dimensions. This unleashed a flood of demons into the human world, while the demon taunted Dante, stabbing him repeatedly with their father's sword. It was only thanks to Mari's quick shot, striking the device in the demon's chest and destroying it, that Dante survived. As the demon bled out, Dante pulled the sword from his own chest and declared that if his brother was still alive, then he must live for him. Embracing his demon side, Dante cut the rabbit demon in half, ending the greatest threat. He then removed the stone from the sword, sending all demons back to their own dimension. Finally, peace returned, more or less, because Dante thought he could trust Mari and let his guard down. But she betrayed him, injecting a serum that put him to sleep, explaining that even though she knew he wasn't evil, she couldn't allow someone with his power to roam free. She took Dante, the sword, and the stone away with Darkham. Meanwhile, as all this unfolded, the vice president opened a portal to the demon world. Remember Anders? He was working for the rabbit, threatened because the rabbit had his daughters hostage. Before dying, the rabbit called Anders and ordered him to retrieve the portal device, and Anders did just that. However, the vice president had cameras everywhere and was monitoring every call, so he discovered Anders' betrayal. Anders was shot, falling from a helicopter into the river, but he managed to deliver the device to a rooftop where Operation Inferno began. This operation aimed to conquer Makai by sending the entire army to invade the demon dimension and capture every demon. Meanwhile, the president went public about the existence of hell and demons, then built a demon prison called Ouroboros, led by a figure unknown to me, but surely familiar to those who know the games. I'd appreciate if you leave his name in the comments. Unfortunately, that prison was attacked by the very demon the rabbit had met earlier, the one who gave him Virgil's blood. This demon came to free all the prisoners, declaring that Mundus, the demon king, sent him, and that Mundus granted him freedom, transforming him into a human. He revealed himself as Dante's supposedly dead brother, Virgil, who now plans to attack humanity. And with that, this anime ends. And that's the end of the summary of this wonderful anime. I hope you liked it. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the like button, as it helps and motivates me to keep creating more content for you. See you soon.